everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is my first episode back after having a month off, unfortunately. Um, I'm still recovering, as you could tell from the oxygen tubing. Not a great look, but it is what it is. And at least I didn't have to be in the hospital for it. So that's a good thing. But I am so glad to be back and to be here with everybody. So thank you for being a part of the show. Tonight I have Rachel Wilson with me. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Kimberly? I am doing very well, and I'm super excited about this show. So I want to say just briefly, thank you so much for allowing me to be here and to be a part of, what you're doing for women.
Of course, of course. Well, before we jump into things, you guys, y'all know how I work. I live off of caffeine. That's what keeps me going. So if you want to support what I am doing here, please consider going to buymeacoffee.com/, this fat girl life. That is where you will have access to all my publications. I've got a couple guided journals, one that literally just got released this week. So you could get those there. Right now they are $2 each, unless you are have a membership, and then it's free if you have a membership. Literally, you guys can support me for $5. That's what it costs to buy me a cup of coffee. That's cheaper than what you will get at Starbucks. So
Mhm.
please consider going to buymeacoffee.com/, this fat girl life. So again, I have Rachel with me. Rachel, before we get started, why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself?
My pleasure. In a short, you have to narrow everything down. And I'm 45 years young, so it's been a lot of years, a lot of things that have happened, a
Oh,
lot of processes.
same, same
Yeah.
age. I love it.
But if I could sum it all up and how I would like to be known and what I would want people to know me by, I'm just a, young girl that really am devoted to my faith, my family, and my peers, and just trying to do something positive in the world. My primarily thing that I believe I'm called to is a kingdom mandate. Yes, I said kingdom mandate. And one of the things that God has primarily geared me to is with women. And so, this is a phenomenal show. This is about women. I personally, from a little girl to now, being that, young in heart, young in spirit, but I'm not the little girl anymore. I'm the mature woman, the kingdom woman that really, really just love to enhance another woman's life by complimenting her, by just doing whatever I can do to help a sister out. And so, with that being said, I am the wife of my husband, and I want to honor him in his absence. My husband, Ronald Wilson, and he is a pastor. So I would like to just honor that, Pastor Ronald Wilson. For 25 years, along with four sons. I am a mom, a boy's mom. So I have all boys. I've tried getting a girl, and God just keep blessing me with them boys. So I'm a boy's mom. And what I'm so most proud of is having those young boys, as well as being married. And one of the things I preciously hold to my heart is being able to value and minister to women. And so one of the things about me, I know this is supposed to be a small synopsis, hard to do it, but um just summing it all up, and we'll talk more of it in the show. I'm sure you're going to, interview me and ask me the right questions, but definitely, if you could just sum it up, I am a woman that absolutely love just helping people smile and be better in life.
I love that. And at 45, I'm the one that I had a daughter. I have one daughter. Well,
Oh
two
my
daughters.
God.
One is biological. One is from marriage. But I've got all girls. I didn't have a boy enter the picture until I had a
Wow.
grandbaby. But
Wow.
grandma life is the best.
Yes, I
It is
heard
the
that. I
best
heard
life.
that.
I'm telling you, I did not believe it until I became one.
Beautiful,
And
beautiful. Well, you deserve it.
yeah, love. All I have to do is hear Nana.
It melts
I'm
your heart.
like,
She can get anything she want, huh?
oh, I will give that little boy anything he wants.
Or he, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you want? The world is yours.
That
called
is
Indiana.
amazing. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Well, tonight we are going to be discussing the importance of educating, empowering, inspiring, and building up women, and especially young women, young girls, because honestly, it needs to start when they're younger. It's never too late. And yes, we need to do it with women who have not been able to experience that. But the younger we can start, the
Absolutely.
better, because that message gets ingrained, and
Yes.
then they end up. I'm going to put some of my story out there. I went through some bad marriages. I went through 35 years of not knowing my worth, of not loving myself. And so I didn't care if somebody else didn't love me right or didn't know my worth because I didn't know it. So
Yeah,
when we
that's
start when they are younger,
mhm,
they don't go through that pattern. We stop
absolutely.
that pattern. We end some of those generational curses that are going on.
Yes.
So let's talk about how we do this.
Okay.
So
Well,
jump
um, since
in.
we're talking on this area, what came to my mind when you were speaking was honestly, I think I shared with you briefly when we had our meeting the other day concerning Flavors. And Flavors, for all of you that's listening out there, it is a nonprofit. It is under actually the umbrella of my nonprofit organization, Girl Talk International. Flavors is an extension. It is fruit from the tree. So I believe the tree has many fruits, but one of the fruits is Flavors. And this is a mentorship program for young girls because we're speaking on here about women and how we can start when they're young. And you are so on point that we have to stop the generational curse when they're young. So what through Christ, I'm a believer. I'm very open about my faith, and it's a beautiful thing to embrace what you love. So I'm very open about that. I'm very adamant about those Christian principles because that's what we establish in these young ladies. And the public schools gave us an opportunity to come in after school and to be able to just enforce love and peace and Trinity, in these young ladies on how to behave, on how to love themselves. You would be surprised in Flavors, which is again a mentorship, after school mentorship program for these young ladies. It's been an ongoing mentorship program for 7 years. And you would be surprised of the things we have heard with these young ladies that are literally going through, or in a relationship, a real relationship in school, in middle school, and they're being physically abused by their boyfriend. They're already going through domestic violence, believe it or not. They're already physically fighting. And so mentally, they go home. Some of them are mentally, psychologically, emotionally abused. And some have been sexually abused by family members as well. And so it would amaze you at the things that we have to talk about, the topics that come up, the things that they have already experienced. I believe that due to this situation that's going on, I believe it's as they said, it's a pandemic. It has really became a pandemic amongst the youth in this nation, where they are emotionally deprived, they're spiritually deprived, they don't have their mentors, if that's a word, they're mentorship deprived as well. And as a result of it, they starve in their lives of understanding, they starve in their lives of not knowing how to deal with the emotions. I mean, the young girls will allow some of these young guys to do anything to their bodies just to make them feel like they're a part. And they don't have to do that, because I heard you say, Kimberly, about self-worth. Well, as a result of that, that is why I believe, and I say I believe, but I know God gave me that idea. It came from him to say, look, you need to birth Flavors and do this thing, get this to the young ladies and teach them the way, teach them the road that will cause them to eliminate the stress and the pain and the torment and things that some of them go through. And so Flavors, that's pretty much what we are. We go in and we teach principles. That is, I believe, the answer to the problem, to one of the big problems with the young girls. They don't have mentors and they don't have life coaches. And so I do believe that a mentor and a life coach, your life should be established in a way. Even if you've gone through many things, you've gone through some hardship, like myself, I've gone through many hard things, but I'm stable enough to say I used to go through this, or I went through seeing my mother, which this is really my story. I watched me and my sisters and siblings, we watched my mother go through a domestic violence situation in our home, literally being body slammed by a grown man, or I've seen her punched in the mouth by my sister's husband, her tongue swole up and she's bleeding. These are literal things that I seen as a young girl in a house. So I grew up in that type of environment at some seasons. So I think, just like yourself, things that you've gone through, which is so powerful, Kimberly, that you're so unselfish that you can build a platform and say, look at my life. You don't have to go through this way. And so I think that is so amazing and relevant for today. And Flavors is just a little piece in the puzzle. I'm just trying to do a little piece. If I can just
Mhm.
get in the schools, if I can just help one young girl change her life around, that's worth it all.
Exactly. And that's honestly why I do what I do as well. Now, one thing that kind of came to mind when you were speaking is how much influence, do you think these young girls are having from TV and social media and everything else? They're getting into these relationships and feeling what we would consider grown feelings
Wow.
at, 10 and 11 and 12. How much influence do you think media has played on that?
I think media has played the a huge, let's say this, a huge role, a primary role. They have been a primary force behind our youth with social media. And one of the reasons is because our youth are immature and they don't understand what they watch tattoos the brain. What they
Mhm.
see plays back in their psychological, or their soulish realm, and it keep repeating the intrusive thoughts. And so for that to happen in the soulish realm and in the mind or in the psyche, it reshapes the mind to believe whatever it wants to believe. So they can really believe through social media that they have no self-worth because they only got one like. Look at that system. Look at the system.
Mhm.
Social media is determining your value by a like, or by how many people viewed your page. Whether you view Rachel Wilson page or not, I am more precious than silver and gold. And I understand that as a grown woman. But the unfortunate thing is when you are a young lady out there and you don't know your value. Now, social media determines or defines your value by saying you're worth less because nobody liked your page, nobody viewed your page, or nobody liked your picture. And then you have cyberbullying and you have all of these things that can attack the minds of the youth. And so it plays a major role in that. But I do want to say this to the parents. If there are parents out there, you should parent your child life. We are primarily responsible for our children's life. It should not be that social media is the parent. Their iPhone should not parent them. Their laptop should not parent them. Their iPad, their television, cable, I say cable because I'm old school, I'm sorry, but Showtime, they got 1, 2, and 3, they got HBO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should not be their parent. A movie and a bowl of popcorn should not parent your children. And so I do believe, Miss Kimberly, that it's leaning back to the accountability is back on the parents.
I'm going to kind of interject a little bit though, because
Hmm.
unfortunately, we have a lot of young ladies, a lot of children whose parents are not part of the picture,
Hmm.
or they are part of the picture, but aren't they aren't an active parent,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't know how to parent because they were not parented themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that I feel is when it is the responsibility of all women, the
Yeah.
women who do know their worth, the women who are able to step in
Mm-hmm.
and show these girls their
Absolutely.
worth and
Yeah.
show them that they are worth being truly loved, not loved for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
not loved however little Robbie down the street wants to love them,
Mm-hmm.
but how they deserve to be loved.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I definitely believe and do agree with that it's although parenting, I'm speaking biological because that's their child, but I
Hmm.
do believe parenting is something that we should do as a whole. Your daughter should be just as important as my daughter. But unfortunately, due to the society that we live in, most people do not parent other people's children, if you know what I'm saying. But in all reality, it is my job, and that's the reason why I'm in the school system to help. I'm going to become the parent if I can by saying, look, we present to you flavors. So I'm now parenting other daughters in three different schools. We have three different schools this year that is connected to flavors virtually. We went from one school to two schools to now three schools. And so I'm now being a virtual parent, if you will, along with other young ladies that are supporting all the mentor, Miss Riddick, and primarily that is helping establishing, carrying the baton of flavors very well. So I thank God for her if she's on today. And so I want to say that definitely, as you have previously said, I believe that we should take responsibility to show them their worth, show them love, um, do certain things around them that we think not think but that should be presented around them, even if it's not your daughter. I have an obligation to make sure I cover somebody else's daughter if I'm in their presence.
Exactly. And I try to do that through social media because I don't have children in the home anymore. I'm not in a position where I'm around children. But I can get on social media and present that positive influence. So a lot of times I'll go through and, on my TikTok especially, because I know there are a lot of teen girls on there.
Mhm.
And so I will do the videos, that say, I'll put myself in a position where, I'm embracing my body in all of its fluffy glory, and showing that I do love my body. It's okay to look like this because everybody looks different. Everybody's a little different. That's how God made us.
Mhm.
So that's what I try to do as well.
Yes. Yes, that's really good. And I think um we as women, and there's women on here today, let's obligate ourselves to do better. Let's be better parents, virtual parents, better neighbors, what can I say? I mean, colleagues, let's just be better in general as women that are listening
Mhm.
on here. Let's do better. I think that it's always one of our teachers and one of our pastors. He's a late pastor, over 20 something years ago. He passed, but his teaching still ring in my ears. That he would always say the largest room in the world is the room for improvement. That everybody can improve on something, and so I have taken that to heart. That's a tattoo in my heart. Is that I thank God for what I'm doing, but you got to know when to say I can do better. And I will take the first obligation tonight to say I can do better. I can recognize a little bit more, take a little bit more time for young ladies. Sometimes we'll see a young lady sad and some of us just pass by them. We
Mhm.
don't take the initiative to just say, are you okay? And they, of course, they're going to say I'm okay most of the times. We all kind of do that as women. You're listening right now, and most of us, we're very, very, very artificial. We'll, oh, I'm fine, everything's well, the world is lovely, I'm blessed and highly
Mhm.
favored. But in all reality, we're dying on the inside. So our children have learned that same methodology. They've learned that same method to say, I'm okay when they're really doing horrible. So I want all the women on here today, anyone that's listening, at the sound of my voice, let's work on doing better. Let's try to each one reach one. Let's really try to be there for some. It doesn't have to be your own daughter. It doesn't have to be your niece. Because sometimes, as you were saying earlier, Kimberly, that sometimes we only help our own, my four and no more. But what about somebody else's daughter that needs you? You know,
Mhm.
so let's just be a lifeline to somebody else.
Well, and I don't know if you're seeing the comments that I'm putting on the screen, but
Yeah,
you've got a row of women that are all saying, I
yeah,
can do better. We can be better.
yes,
So women are embracing this message right now. And so
awesome.
I absolutely love that. In fact, there's another one. Jessica, yes, ma'am, I receive the challenge.
Yes, yes, yes.
So this message is definitely hitting home and being received. Um, I want to thank you so much for
My
taking time out of your evening, taking time away from your little group of boys there to come on here and help share this message. It has been such an amazing conversation. I have one final question for you. I
okay.
ask it of every guest who comes on my show. What do you love about yourself?
Oh my God. I absolutely love my inner strength to fight. I'm really proud of myself because I've literally been knocked down and I get back up, whether it's just, things I've gone through in life, hits with family losses in our family, which have been really hard. We had about two losses in our family. I mean, major hits.
Mm,
This was my niece that was 24. And then I had a nephew that just passed not too long ago. He was 38,
I'm
and it
so
was
sorry.
6 months apart, and I helped raise my baby nieces and nephews. So it's like, oh my God. And so I think I like about myself. I love my inner strength. There's many things I like, but I would have to say that inner strength is what I really like about me. And thank you so much for asking that.
Of
That's amazing.
course, of course. Well, thank you again for coming on, for having this conversation. It has been amazing, and I've been looking forward to this conversation all week.
Me too.
So I'm so glad that you were able to spend time with me this evening. I know you've got a little one to take care of.
Yes, 11
So,
months old.
how old is he?
He's 11 months. Actually, um he'll be a year old this month, December 18. So yeah.
Oh, well, happy birthday, little man.
Yes, he's excited. He's excited. Me and his father, we've been trying to get him to walk. I'm like, this is your 11th month. This is your transitional month. So he took like 5 steps on his own today. And then we tried to get him to do it again. He took 3 steps. So we're trying to work with him. We're like, it's time to walk. And he just keep laughing and falling out. So we're like, okay. Yeah, we're having
He'll,
fun.
he will get there, I promise. And once
Yes,
he
well,
starts,
I
he
know.
ain't gonna
Then
stop.
we have a whole other set of problems.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here with us this evening. This, like I said, this conversation has been amazing. I've loved every bit of it. I will be having some episodes here over the next couple weeks from the month that I had to take off. So I will be posting when I have those. Make sure you are following on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. That way you can find out when I'll be on next. I hope you all have an amazing evening.
Thank you. My pleasure. Bye bye.
Thank you.